The dog attacked a domestic bull, but it turned out that the ungulate can fight no worse than a wild buffalo. At first, the bull ran away from the dog, but then turned around and rushed into a counterattack. He almost rammed the dog with his horns, and when the lighter opponent dodged, the bull began to trample the opponent. The dog was lucky to be alive, but now she knows exactly where her own ribs are. She will feel that pain in them for a long time. It was not worth angering this horned beast. We will show other cases today where bulls have shown that you should not be messing with them. The bear was so focused on finding food under his feet, but did not notice how a huge gaur, an Asian wild bull, came up from behind. Finally, the bear heard the giant's breathing behind him, looked back, and ran away in panic. The bear definitely did not expect that the huge buffalo would be able to come so close unnoticed. The predator was lucky that the ungulate just wanted to make way for it. If the bull had rammed the bear, even such a large carnivorous beast would not have been able to resist. And here the gaur drove a bear up a tree. The predator did not expect such impudence, but could not do anything about it. The buffalo was too strong and big. He doesn't even calm down and continues to attack the bear, forcing it to rise up even higher. This pit bull thought that this frontal attack and barking would cause the bison to panic. Of course, when a pit bull is rushing at you, it's hard to remain indifferent because this is one of the strongest dogs in its weight category. And most importantly, she has a stranglehold. That doesn't mean that she has a super strong bite. It's just that if she clenches her jaw, it's extremely difficult to get them to unclench it. Unsurprisingly, a pit bull can frighten even much larger animals. But the bull just looked at the aggressor like an idiot, and at the key moment threw the arrogant dog away. That pit bull flew away like a rag. The bison was not afraid, and this was good news for the dog, because in anger and panic, such a bull could simply trample the dog. As it was, the pit bull did a somersault in the air, and when she got up, he ran away from the bison as if away from a monster. Let this be a lesson for that little dog. There are red wild dogs in southern Asia. If you remember the story about Mowgli, then it was Akela's wolves who fought with them. These ginger dogs are not so big, but they are very numerous, dexterous, and cunning. Here they surrounded a female gaur and her newly born calf. The mother towers over the cub like a living mountain, but she was taken into the ring. There are about a dozen predators here, and although the red dogs cannot jump to the buffalo's throat, they constantly attack from different sides to distract the mother and kidnap the baby. But predators do not know who they were dealing with. Gaurs not only have crushing power, but also excellent reaction speed. The female quickly repels the attacks of the enemies, and then returns and beats off the calf as soon as another dog bites into it. The gaur literally scatters the predators and makes them run away. The stubborn ginger dogs are ready to put up with the risk of being hit by the horns and hooves of such a terrible enemy, just to defeat the calf. For them, this helpless baby is lunch, which will last the pack for about 2 days. However, the endurance of the calf's mother comes as an unpleasant surprise to the predators. The dogs can't drive her away, slow her down, or distract her. She stands menacingly over her cub, and her legs are like the columns of a protective dome. She's a pretty tough guard, isn't she? However, when the female is walking, she may not intentionally hit the calf's head. But it's better than the dog's fangs. The huge deer here thought that the larger branching horns gave him an advantage in the confrontation with the bison. We must pay tribute to this fighter. He is not afraid of a more massive opponent and boldly goes on the attack. Besides this, a deer can really rely on his antlers. They're huge, powerful, and sturdy. Many branches allow you to compensate and distribute the force of the blow from the front, as well as cover the beast from the side. To block the enemy's attack from the flank, it is enough for the deer to turn its head slightly to the side to meet one of the sharp tips of its enemy. And stabbing with spikes is dangerous because it can harm internal organs, hit the opponent's eyes, or even get stuck in his body. However, relying only on horns and courage in a fight with a bull is a mistake. Maybe the horns of the bison are short, but this beast itself is incredibly strong and cool. The bison is about twice as massive and is not shy about his strength. He easily throws away the deer from him at the first counterattack and then pushes the opponent and shows that he messed with the wrong one. The bull plays, but constantly dominates the opponent. Probably if he wanted to, he would have crushed the opponent's resistance long ago, knocking over the deer and trampling it. But the bison prefers to deal with a worthy enemy and to behave with dignity and restraint, without bringing the fight to a fatal finale. However, a deer should not test the patience of a larger ungulate. If you think that the bison defeats opponents only at the expense of its physical strength, then you are honestly mistaken. Here, a very young bull faced 3 adults and powerful deer at once. Each of the deer is larger than the young bull, but he still does not allow himself to be driven away. Armed with branched horns, the beast attacks and forces the bison to retreat. But he overcomes the first fright. It seems that the very fact of his own retreat has become unpleasant to him. Therefore, the bison launches a counterattack simply out of stubbornness, to show the deer that they have contacted the wrong enemy. And the bison wins. He is dispersing a group of 3 deer where each one is bigger than the bull. Such courage deserves your like, don't you think? A large herd of buffaloes was grazing and minding their own business when a rhinoceros approached them. You'd be surprised, but he didn't know who he was about to mess with. Rhinos have one feature: they have poor eyesight. They are guided by scent, but movement from downwind is able to hide the presence of an animal from rhinos. And not even intentionally for him. Quite often, these huge armored beasts weighing up to 3 tons notice other animals next to them only when they are at a distance of several yards. When the blurred spot in front of the eyes develops into the figure of a fairly large animal, the rhinoceros may be scared, even if its neighbor in the pasture is another herbivore. And when a rhinoceros is scared, it attacks. This feature caused many ridiculous conflicts between the armored beast and other herbivores that were not even threatening it at all. The same thing happened here. The rhinoceros was just plodding along, and suddenly the dark spots formed into a whole herd of buffaloes. This caused giant stress. He was going to attack the whole herd and trample the youngest members of it, but he got involved with the wrong ungulates. The buffaloes acted decisively and at the same time wisely. The leader of the herd went one-on-one against a huge rhinoceros, which is several times more massive and much stronger. The bull understands that he will not be able to defeat such a formidable opponent, but his goal is different. He simply diverts the aggressor's attention to himself in order to give the rest of his family time to get away without unnecessary panic. That's pretty amazing loyalty to your relatives, don't you agree? The rhinoceros threatens the bull and he accepts the rules of the game. Visually, the buffalo seems to be an equal opponent for the rhinoceros, but this is a bluff. If a more massive beast releases its superiority, it will knock the buffalo down or pierce its belly with its horn. At the same time, the bull cannot retreat because his task is to distract the enemy. Therefore, the rivals circle, conduct accurate attacks without putting all their weight into blows, test each other's courage. And in terms of courage, the bull definitely won. He waited for the belligerents to leave the rhino, after which he carefully went to his relatives without loss or serious damage. The lioness thought that she could ambush the bulls, and if the ungulates noticed the threat, then they could simply escape. But the lioness was wrong. The ungulates will not let her go that easily. The cat did not know who it was dealing with. The bull not only showed the enemy that he noticed the presence of a threat, but also went on the attack first. The lioness just froze in shock. She did not expect such insolence, and the bull took advantage of this. The ungulate attacked the predatory cat, pinned it to the ground with a powerful blow, and then lifted it on its horns. In one powerful movement, the bull threw the discouraged lions onto his back, and she collapsed to the ground. The predatory cat could not even think about attacking bulls. She was lucky to escape alive and relatively unharmed. The mane prevents the lion from sneaking up on prey, but if it was possible to get close enough, then the male is dangerous even for a young rhinoceros or elephant. Taking down a bull one-on-one is a difficult but doable task for a lion. However, this predator clearly does not understand who it is dealing with. The lion clearly does not know why the buffalo does not run away if it has noticed the enemy in advance. Did fear paralyze the bull? Not at all. It's just that the buffalo is confident in its abilities. He is ready to fight back against the predator, and this is not banal self-confidence, and the lion is attacking. He runs into the bull and tries to knock it to the ground, but the ungulate withstands the first onslaught. As a retaliatory blow, the buffalo tries to hit the lion with sharp tips of its horns, with sharp movements of its head to the side, rip through its skin, pick it up, and remove it from its back. An experienced lion understands this danger, so he stays behind enemy lines. Clawed paws cling securely to the muscular sides of the buffalo, while powerful jaws grab the back. The purpose of the lion is to bite through the skin at this point, where the spine fits the skin. Then it will be possible to damage the spine and paralyze or at least weaken the victim. But the bull is much stronger and braver than the predator thought of him. The herbivore gives an impressive rebuff and throws off a predator that weighs more than 1/4 of a ton. At the same time, the bull itself is heavier, but for him, such a mass is still a big load. Nevertheless, the bull managed to repel the attack and go on a retaliatory attack. The lion is tired of these dances, and he runs away.